Hello friends, welcome back to this series of React.js, and this is the second video in the React.js series. So today I'm going to discuss about how the React.js framework works for you to display the components on the UI, or you can say on the web page. Okay, so before that let us see that how many components are there within a React.js component. Okay, so there are three parts of a component, right? So one is the header. This is the header. I'm representing it through the header H, and the second one is the content. I'm representing it through the C, and the third one is the footer. I'm representing it through F. So header, content, and footer, these are the three parts of any React.js component, right? So header contains the information about the basic information about the this component, that what it is displaying, and basically it contains the heading. Like if you are displaying the information about a student, then you can simply write his name on the header section. And contents may contain the information regarding the student, his age, his address, and all those things. And footer can contain additional informations, whatever we put in the footers. Like usually footer contains the ID or basic information, or you can say the roll number you can display in the footer, right? And here you can just display the name. So these are the three parts of the React.js components, and these are the three parts which are rendered by the React.js engine, right? Header, content, and footer. All these are rendered through the React.js framework. Okay, so who does that? Inside the React.js framework, who is responsible for displaying all these three parts of the React.js component, right? So that is the role of virtual DOM, virtual DOM, VDOM is called. So this virtual DOM is a programming concept where an ideal or virtual representation of a UI is kept in memory and synced with the real DOM. Complicated? Let me make it simple. Okay, so let me just erase it. Okay, so let me just draw one more here. So this is your display of component, header, content, and footer, right? You can remember, you can just understand that it's header, it's content, and it's footer. So the same thing is placed in memory. There is an object which is placed in memory corresponding to this actual header, content, and footer, which is in sync with actual representation, which means that whatever you are displaying as of now, that has been maintained inside a local copy of the React.js framework or the React.js engine, right? So what happens next, that as soon as you change anything, suppose you change in header, for example, suppose you change in header. So when you change anything, then after changing, you will change here, something you will change here, right? So any change will not be placed here in the original copy, which is reflecting the, which is showing the UI component. Rather, a new virtual DOM object will be created. This copy will not be tempered. This will not be tempered. This will remain as it is. But every time you do any change, whether it's in header or in contents or in footer, a new React.js component, a virtual DOM component will be created, and that virtual DOM component will contain the information about the header, content, and footer, and it will contain the latest updates. Whatever update you have done, that will be contained here. Suppose you want to change something in the header, then header will contain those changes. If you want to change something in the content, then contents will contain those changes. Now what will happen, that this copy will be compared, this virtual DOM, the new virtual DOM, the active virtual DOM will be compared with the existing copy of the virtual DOM, which is actually representing the entire data on the screen, right? So these two will be compared. Suppose there are changes in the header only, right? So this copy will be updated with the new one, right? So this will become, this will be in sync with this one. But when it will display the data on the screen, then it will not render the entire page. It will not render the entire component. Forget about the page. It will not even render the entire component. It will simply render that portion which has been modified, right? So that is why the loading of the React.js components is very fast. Is fast compared to the other technologies like AngularJS or the other JavaScript based applications or any other scripting language for that matter. Okay, so now you might have understood what is the meaning of this statement. So you need to understand this, that there is a display part, there is a copy which is in sync with the display, and at runtime there is one more copy which contains the new changes which are getting done, whether they are done in header or in content or in footer. They are all there in the new virtual DOM object. And once this virtual DOM object is done, any changes are done in this virtual DOM object, they will be updating, or you can say they will make this copy, which is actually representing or actually rendering the object on the UI, that will be updated, and only that portion which was updated, whether it was header or content or footer, only that portion will be rendered again, not the entire component. Forget about the page, not the entire component even will be rendered again. So that is why the React.js is a powerful language, and that is why most of the application developers are moving, who are doing the development on the on the AngularJS, they are moving ahead with the React.js. Okay, so that is why the virtual DOM is the concept which is used. And if you want to read more about it, you can go through the Wikipedia or Google it around, and you can find it that what are the other things around the virtual DOM. Because as per my understanding, this understanding or whatever I told you, this is more than sufficient for you. Okay. So you need to remember the name of the library. The library name is React DOM, right? So the library which maintains all these things, which performs all these things, is called the React DOM. And this process of synchronizing the copy of the UI display with the current object is called the reconciliation. These things, these two words, this React DOM library and this reconciliation, you must remember always. These are the two things. If you are going to give any interview, you will be asked. Shadow DOM versus virtual DOM. What is that? You can just simply read this. Shadow DOM is just a browser technology which is designed primarily for scoping variables and CSS in web components. I don't think I need to explain it. If you know CSS, if you know about the variables, you must be knowing about the variables because you are a programmer. You must be knowing about the scoping of the variables because you are a programmer, right? So the Shadow DOM was used for the browser technologies, and that was used only for the scoping of the variables and CSS in web components. And the virtual DOM is a concept implemented by libraries in JavaScript on top of browser APIs. So these were the browser APIs. Shadow DOMs were the browser APIs, but on top of the Shadow DOMs, the new JavaScript, since this Shadow DOM was also a JavaScript, so on top of this Shadow DOM, a new set of APIs have been written, and that set of API is a library which is known as the React DOM, right? So Shadow DOM and React DOM, these are the two different libraries. React DOM is nothing but the virtual DOM. So you need to remember the difference between the virtual DOM and Shadow DOM. And I hope you might have found this this session useful. So I would request you to please share my videos and just let me know that if anything left which you want to understand regarding this. But keep watching my videos and you will find many things regarding the React.js, and from the next video onwards I will try to let you know that how you can do the installation of the React.js. Either myself or one of my friends will be able to do that. Okay, and they will just upload the video here. Okay, so have a nice day guys, and bye bye. We'll meet soon in the next video. Bye.